Roll that intro. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker, where the answers comes first, the reasons come last, but we're constantly and always still learning. So NAB 2019 has come and gone, and I basically took the last week to compile everything that I've seen, as well as stuff that I didn't see. Bad on me, but I will do better next year if I get to go to NAB again. And basically, this comes down to my top 5 things that I think you should know about if you don't know about them already. And this is probably more for narrative filmmaking, but it definitely can translate to other sorts of filmmaking as well. But as a narrative filmmaker, these are the things that popped out to me right away. And the first one you probably already noticed is this little thing that I'm wearing right here. This is the Rode Wireless Go. I've never owned a Rode product in my life because I've been waiting for something like this forever. It comes in it's basically a wireless lavalier kit. It's got a built-in mic that you're hearing right now, or I can plug in my own lavalier mic if I so choose. So that is amazing. Hopefully this sounds good right now. It comes in at $200. I literally bought 2. I didn't think twice. It took me forever to finally invest in my own wireless lavalier kit. This thing, immediately bought 2 of them. It operates on the 2.4 gigahertz band. It jumps between 2 different frequencies to make sure that you're always getting the best signal constantly. So I'm not really worried about it dipping in and out because they showed it off at the trade floor, which is like the worst case scenario for something like this. And it did well. Obviously, if you went further back, it's not going to do as well, but honestly, who's going that far back anyways? So for basically many use cases, this thing is amazing, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this thing that no one's talking about. So check out my review when that comes up, because I'm going to be showing you guys like literally 3 or 4 different ways to use this thing and deploy it in your own narrative filmmaking sets. So that is number 1. Number 2, it's either DZO Optics or DZ Optics, I think. Yeah, DZ Optics Photon. I did not see this, and I really wish I did. It's a cinema zoom for the Micro Four Thirds mount. From 20 millimeters to 70 millimeters in full frame equivalent, it's gonna give you something like a 40 millimeter to a 140 millimeter look. Yes, it's a cinema zoom at $1,700. That is insane. Fujinon just decided to finally put a Micro Four Thirds mount on their CineZoom lens that was more for the Fuji mount and the E mount. I think it's the MK series, I can't remember. But those lenses are somewhere with like $3,500. This thing is like kind of both of those lenses that they have, which, but for $1,700. If it actually performs well, this is the lens that I've been waiting for, especially if it performs well wide open, because it's got a constant t-stop of 3.1, so it's probably like an f2.8, and that's perfect. That's perfect for Micro Four Thirds stuff. If you need shallower depth of field, you can just get yourself a couple little primes to do that. But as a one lens solution, this thing, it's a cinema zoom, it's parfocal. I'm assuming it probably doesn't breathe too well. It's got a nice long focus throw. It's got gear pitches on all 3 of the barrel settings that you could want. Yeah, I'm super excited. Now, number 3 is lighting. There's 3 companies I want to highlight here: the Aputure, Pilotfly, and Nanlite. Now, Aputure has come out with a bunch of awesome stuff, like their Aputure 300D Mark II, the MC, which is this tiny little RGB LED light, and that's going to be app controlled, which is awesome. And then they showed off an RGB light bulb. Basically, they're hitting the RGB game hard. Now, Pilotfly, on the other hand, they're a gimbal company, but they're coming out with their own pocket LED light that's about this size, and it's very similar to the Andy Cine Bowling P1 that I am currently reviewing. And basically, it's going to also be able to have app control as well. And that is something that I love seeing, that you're going to be able to use a smartphone app to control groups of light and do a whole bunch of stuff. And eventually, I hope they're going to be able to allow you to program custom lighting settings in terms of movement, because not movement, but you know, flashing different colors, strobe, or whatever. They can do anything with a smartphone app. So I'm really happy that they're doing this. Nanlite. Nanlite is definitely taking a stab at Aputure in terms of their Cobb LED lights. They announced their 60 watt, 300 watt, and 500 watt and they're all competitively priced against the Aputure, except for the 60 watt. That one's coming in a little under $300, so it is on the expensive side in my eyes for something that's 60 watt. But their 300 watt is coming in at $1,000, and their 500 watt is coming in at $1,850 approximately, or it might be $1,900, I can't remember. But those things are massive. You do need to buy your own attachments. I think it just comes with a reflector, so it doesn't have the Fresnel lens that you would want or anything like that. Now, number 4 comes from Andy Cine. Now, Andy Cine showed off their F6 Plus, which is similar to the A6 monitor that I reviewed before, except now there's touchscreen and there's an SD card on the bottom that allows you to import your own 3D LUTs, which I've been wanting in a budget monitor for a very long time. And they finally added the HDMI output, making it so that if you're going to use a wireless HDMI transmission module or whatever to either your Focus Puller or Video Village, that now you can. And of course, they've kept the awesome feature of allowing you to power your GH5 off of the MPF battery in the back of the monitor. No word on pricing just yet. I would assume it's probably going to be under $300 or somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that. That's literally just my hypothesis. So that's one monitor I'm very excited for because it's going to basically give me everything I want that the A6 has already given me and more. The next thing is their 7-inch Ultra Bright. This thing comes in at 2200 nits, so it's really, really stinking bright. It also has an HDMI in and an HDMI out. It also has SDI in and out, but those are 3G, not 6G, so they're only going to give you a 1080 signal. But this thing is amazing. Obviously, it can be battery powered, and from what I'm going to be using it for is for your outdoor shoots, obviously, and also for Video Village. So instead of having this huge monitor that you have to lug around with you that can give you 4 different screens, pack yourself a bunch of these 7-inch Ultra Brights, and whether you're in a tent or not, or maybe you're in a car, what have you, it's bright enough for you to see what you need to see coming in from a wireless HDMI transmission. So those are 2 monitors I'm extremely excited about from Andy Cine / Feel World. Now, I know this has been rambling on for a little bit. Sorry, this is not scripted, but the final one is not gear related at all. It's actually DaVinci Resolve 16. I solemnly swear I've been holding out for a long time on DaVinci Resolve just because their editing experience did not give me what I love that Final Cut Pro X or Final Cut Pro 10, whatever you want to call it, gives. With what they've announced and shown, that new cut page, their updating of Fairlight for their doing sound design, Apple, I'm sorry. You guys have dropped a ball for many, many years, and right now there's probably no way you're gonna get me back into your system in terms of video editing. We only literally just got like curves and HSL, all that stuff within the last year or last year and a half. Blackmagic has not stopped. They have not stopped developing ever since they introduced the cut feature, I think in DaVinci 12 or 13, no, 14, 12 or 14, I can't remember. When they first announced it, it wasn't that great, but each year it's gotten better and better and better, and they have not stopped their insane development of their programming. And if you've been holding out using Adobe and you don't want to keep paying the subscription, DaVinci Resolve is not subscription based. You can actually use the free version, or you can use the paid version at $300, which is the same pricing as Final Cut Pro X or 10. And the one thing that Final Cut is killing me right now is the fact that doing audio for it inside Final Cut sucks. And it was never meant to be done in this way at all. And Adobe, again, you can lay out all your soundtracks, but then finish it off in Audition. And DaVinci Resolve is saying, screw all that. We can basically do everything in the same program, even though it's technically jumping into different parts of the program, but it's all streamlined. And the one feature that's really awesome about DaVinci Resolve 16 is that there's this new system that's going to really help you in terms of doing Foley. So you can basically sample Foley sounds, you can change the pitch, you can do all that stuff basically with a keyboard. I think that's what they're going to allow you to program it to. Or if you're doing footsteps, instead of painfully dragging each footstep into each one and then having its own master track, whatever, I believe you can just audition the keyboard and actually just practice and then record. This stuff has actually existed for a while, but to actually get it done was kind of wonky, and now they're just putting it in there. So DaVinci Resolve 16 is probably going to be my feature film editing program of choice. Maybe for YouTube, I don't know yet, probably actually. But DaVinci Resolve 16, if you haven't taken a look at it yet, you definitely should. And hey, that is it for this week, everybody. I know I rambled on for a while. I'm sorry about that. It wasn't scripted. But those are the top 5 things I feel you need to know about from what 2019 brought us. And all very exciting stuff. Hopefully this wireless, Rode Wireless Go performed quite well attached to my shirt with me moving all about. So next week, we're gonna go back to our regular programming. And again, if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave it down in the comments section below. I will get to them as fast as I can. And until then, like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys in the next one.